A man has been arrested after an 11-year-old girl and a 34-year-old woman were stabbed in London's Leicester Square, the Metropolitan Police have said. And joining us now from Leicester Square is our Homeland Security editor, Mark White, live there from central London. Mark, 2 weeks ago today, we saw the tragic killings in Southport. Now, a girl and a woman stabbed in broad daylight in London. What do we know so far?
Well, people here understandably still trying to absorb the shocking, violent stabbings that took place just about 23 or so minutes to midday. So you can imagine at that time in the morning there were many hundreds of people here in this very busy part of central London, an area that has some 2.5 million people that pass through Leicester Square every single week. And they heard the screams of this 34-year-old woman, and really within seconds people came running to her aid and managed to tackle the suspect, in particular a young man called Abdullah, a security guard in this TWG tea shop just outside the location where this stabbing took place. He ran out, tackled the suspect. He's been speaking to us. This is what he told us.
I jumped on him, hold the hand in which he wasn't having a knife, and I just put him down on the floor and just hold him and kick the knife away from him. And then a couple of more people joined as well, and we just hold him until the police came. It took like maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Police arrived, and then they just took him into the custody. And the child, just like all my colleagues, they gave him first aid, and in the middle, police came as well.
So Abdullah there obviously saying the police were on scene pretty quickly. In terms of this area, it is described, of course, in security terms as a high threat area, in the sense that it is what they call in an umbrella term a crowded place. So police will always police accordingly, and that means there are always patrols in and around this area of central London and able to respond pretty quickly to any unfolding incident, as they did do on this occasion. We spoke to another eyewitness. He's a street performer here every day, goes by the name of Desmond. Didn't want to appear on camera, but did consent to us recording his audio as he spoke and described the moments after the police arrived.
Two guys brought the man down, and the police came not quite long, very fast.
Did he struggle when he was being arrested?
No. He was on the ground, and when they came, they just put the handcuff and they stand him up, and he was so calm. He was calm.
And I mean, passers-by, they must have been very shocked at what was happening. What did
everybody
they do?
was shocked, and everybody a lot of people ran. I only took both guys who was just at the same position. They rushed the guy and hold him and put him down.
That was the street performer Desmond there, just describing the scenes as the police arrived and arrested this key suspect. Martin, I just want to step to the side at the moment and give you a shot just looking around this area. It's been cordoned off, the immediate area around where this stabbing took place, but Leicester Square remains open, and as such there are still many hundreds of people milling up and down, most of them actually not even knowing what occurred here just before midday today. I'm very shocked to hear the news that an 11-year-old girl, a 34-year-old woman, had been so violently stabbed. Now, the encouraging news that we're getting from the police is that the injuries on the young girl are described as non-life-threatening. She will stay in hospital. She's being treated. The 34-year-old woman, she was lightly injured, suffered minor injuries, so she will be released at some point soon. So that is some encouraging news. As for the suspect, he is a man in his 30s. He is being held by police at the moment as they try to piece together the exact sequence of events and try to fathom out a motive for what seems like a completely unfathomable sequence of events unfolding here right in the heart of central London in this busy tourist district with, as I say, many people still coming through here. Can hardly believe what has happened here this morning.
And Mark White, it's such a densely occupied area of central London, a huge tourist hotspot, especially now during the summer holidays. Of course, it'd be likely that some footage will emerge of what's happened. Of course, Mark, we must not speculate about any of this if we can learn anything from Southport, but with that in mind, how quickly do you think the police are likely to release the identity of the individual who did this?
Well, we hope that if not a name, they give us some indication, a little bit of more of an understanding as to what unfolded here, because at the moment they're just saying that it wasn't terror related. You can see though that the world's media have descended on Leicester Square as they try to piece together the sequence of events as well. And you're right to say, Martin, that there will be video. Tourists, I'm sure, passing by, locals in the area may well have filmed what happened, but just as importantly, there are so many CCTV cameras around this very heavily surveilled part of central London that without a doubt this incident will have been caught on security camera, and that will give the police a clear indication as to what exactly unfolded here at 11:36 this morning. But that suspect, as I say, in custody. We don't know how cooperative he's being and how far down the road the police have managed to go in trying to determine the motivation. What we can tell you, according to the eyewitnesses we've spoken to, is that he was a skinny white man in his 30s.
OK, thank you, Mark White. Of course, we'll cross live to you throughout the show as this story unfolds. And I'm now joined by former London police officer Norman Brennan. Norman, welcome to the show once again. We're having the same conversation in the immediate aftermath of the triple killing in Southport. You and I spoke on this show about the need for a national knife crime emergency. Norman Brennan, once again, here we are. Seems we've learned nothing.
Yeah, you may recall, Martin, we had a drink in a lovely part of London about 5 years ago. Do you remember when I was hoping to stand as an independent mayor and we discussed at length about knife crime? Your last programme, just before you went on holiday, is your first day back today, is about knife crime. Let me just answer the question you just asked, Martin. The police will probably release a age very quickly. And when they tell you that which they may do, that the suspects and the victims were known to each other, that may well give you an indication too. But let me just reassure everyone watching that it's exceptionally rare that a woman or a child are stabbed by anyone outside them being in a relationship with the person, an ex-relationship with the person, or actually someone that they know. That is absolutely right to put that right. And the other caveat as well, Martin, to reassure people, 2 years ago there were 200 women that were murdered, 200, and 195 were stabbed, strangled, killed in whatever way by a current or ex-partner in their own home. 5 were killed or murdered on the streets of Britain. So that hopefully tempers that down. But you're absolutely right. Our last conversation, a national emergency. When's the government going to listen? They clearly can't see the blue lights and listen to the two tones.
And mercifully, we don't have a fatality as yet. There appears to be non-life-threatening injuries, but it just underlines once again, does it not, Norman Brennan, that we have here one of the busiest parts of Europe, packed with tourists this time of year, enjoying an innocent day out, and amongst them walk men carrying knives. How do we get knives off our streets, Norman?
Well, just as a caveat to the last bit as well, is that Martin, if you've had a row with someone, or and again, we don't know the facts, I'm just hypothesizing exactly what may have happened, exactly the same as somebody that self-radicalised overnight. If your intent is to cause harm or murder someone, and the police or the public and even the victims are unaware, there is almost a zero chance that the police can stop that. So that has to be put in perspective. But what do we need to do about knife crime? Martin, how many times for 30 years, I mean, I've become the lead campaigner on knife crime in Britain. I offered the last government my services. I've met 1,000 families who've had somebody murdered. I've almost been murdered myself. I know the psychology of knife crime. I know the law on knife crime. I know all the threads around Britain that need to be pulled together. I said to the last government, please give me the job as Britain's homicide, gun and knife commissioner. I had a meeting with the Home Secretary in January. He cancelled it for no good reason. And until we take knife crime seriously, with mandatory prison sentences, Martin, 5 years. Just look what we're doing. Just look what we're doing now with rioters. Within a week, we have nipped their rioting, turning police cars over, hundreds of police officers being assaulted. We've nipped it in the bud. Just imagine, Martin, if we built 5 or 10 new prisons and we said 5 years for anyone, including children, maybe 3 years for them, will have a mandatory sentence. You will not be given bail. You'll be sent to prison or young offenders institute. Martin, I'm an expert on this subject. We can stop these hundreds of killings. We can stop these parents planning funerals instead of bright futures. Why doesn't anyone listen? I've been shouting from the mountaintops, even as a serving police officer for 15 years. I predicted the epidemic. I'm an expert in the subject. I know it passionately well. Nobody has ever reached out, Martin,
Norman,
to us police officers to actually offer a hand of friendship and support.
Norman, the last time we spoke, I said we need to get this conversation moving forward. I'm going to say it to you again on live television now. We need to make something happen. Mate, let's speak after the show. I can hear your voice breaking up there. Norman Brennan, you were stabbed in the line of duty. You almost died. You care deeply about this. So do our viewers. Thank you. No, we have to move on, Norman, but please, let's pick this up after the show. Thank you very, very much. Now, I've got lots more on that story throughout the show, of course, and there's plenty of coverage on our website, GBNews.com, and you've helped to make it the fastest growing national news website in the country. So thank you very much.